my hair. It's raining, so we got the poof. The poof. The poof is so poofy.
Yeah.
We don't need no poofy, 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 poofy hair.
Hello, and welcome to the Hardly Working Podcast, the show where we talk about life, love, and labor, hosted by the couple that works, plays, and stays together. I'm Kelly.
And I'm SP here in a gloomy, rainy Southern California day.
Yes.
Not very normal, but the poof is out and going. My hair gets so voluminous and untamable when there's moisture in the air. I barely made it living in Oklahoma. It's dry out here in LA, but Oklahoma is so humid. And so
Did
all
you
the
have
time.
curly hair? Like, was it?
My hair is naturally curly, I've been told.
We should try to see if we can get it to curl,
Oh, I'm sure you
At
could.
the ringlets.
I don't know if it's long enough. It's like, what, 3 inches
You
right
can
now?
do that. It's
Something
fine.
like that?
We
Yeah.
could probably make it happen.
We should get a perm for me. I should get a
Nah,
perm. That's what we're doing.
whack.
Next episode, we'll bring in a perm specialist.
It's just a hairstylist, a perm specialist.
I don't know. It feels like a specific type of hairstyle. I don't feel like I could go into Supercuts and get a perm.
No. Well, I don't know. Maybe.
Well, we'll see this week when I
If
go
he
into
comes with a
Supercuts. A
be
perm and
like, oh.
frosted tips. I guess you can't do perm and frosted tips, right? Because there's not really tips in a perm. They're curls.
Right, but you could still get that if you wanted to, and then it would just be
Is that what Justin Timberlake had when his hair looked like ramen in
Yeah.
NSYNC?
Uh-huh.
Like uncooked ramen?
Yep.
So those were frosted perms.
Yeah.
Are you going to make it?
There's something in my eye, but I'm good.
It's like 2 nights ago when I was like dying with something in my eye that magically came out.
It's coming. You just keep going. Keep talking about Justin Timberlake's perms.
Which brings us to our first segment, the history of hair. Justin
Nah.
Timberlake.
That's whack.
Oh, man. Good times. Fun week for us. It was, as stated last week, it was birthday week for Brooklyn. Or what I meant to say was, it's Brooklyn's birthday week, which was a lot of fun. We got to throw a Harry Potter party for her.
Oh, just like the perfect theme for all of us.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about the party because you were overseeing a lot of cool details.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll throw some video footage in here, especially for your activation that you made.
Yeah. I mean, if there was any topic that Brooklyn could pick to be her birthday theme, Harry Potter was the one, because it's not only my favorite thing that I know so much about, it's also her mom's favorite thing that she knows a lot about too. And so between us and John and you, I mean,
we all know something.
Yeah,
I probably know the least, to be honest, in terms of Harry Potter.
Well, who knows? But we may have outdone ourselves. We may have overdone ourselves.
That doesn't sound like us.
Yeah, but we did. She wanted to watch the movie. That's what she wanted to do. Which she kind of watched the movie with her friends, but that's what she wanted to do. So we said, okay, we'll do that. We planned it out. We had everything. When you got there, you got to walk through the bricks into platform 9 3/4.
Yeah, it was like a hanging thing over the door, but it had a split in the center, and we had the Hogwarts Express platform 9 3/4 light up sign above it on the door.
Yep.
So from the moment you were walking in, it was immersive.
You walk in, and then there you are in Honeyduke's, also where the food is. At the Leaky Cauldron. You got it all. Or the 3-room 6, wherever you want to be.
And I don't think we talked about this leading up to it, but so Kelly had a vision for Honeyduke's. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you kind of know a little bit about it. If you don't, it's a candy, like a magical
the candy store.
Candy store, yeah. And it is a huge part of the books, even more so than the movies. But the vibe and the feel is like eclectic glass containers.
Yeah.
Kind of like hodgepodge thrown together. It's not like everything's uniform. So Kelly and I went to some like Goodwills and thrift shops and stuff and bought old, unique looking glassware, large
So none of
tubs
it
like
matched,
parfait tubs, and I don't know if they're not called tubs, glasses, all that kind of stuff. So none of them matched, but they all matched in the way that they didn't match. They came together in that. And then Kelly printed out Honeyduke's
on my Cricut
logos on her Cricut and filled them up with I don't know, gummy slugs from the movie, Bertie Bott's every flavor jelly beans from the movie,
Fizzing Whiz-Bees from the movie. And then we did the normal stuff. She wanted Reese's, she wanted M&Ms. And then we made snitches out of Ferrero Rochers.
That was so cute.
So super cute.
Yeah, if you haven't seen a Ferrero Rocher before, it's gold, just like the snitch. And it's about the size of the snitch, which is the little thing you try to catch in the Quidditch game. I don't know why I'm explaining Harry Potter to people. Either you know it or you don't. But she glued golden wings to each one, and it was friggin' adorable.
Yep. And then we had little cauldrons that we filled with popcorn. So like we had it all. We had it all. my favorite part of this was Brooklyn really wanted to have one of our photo booths there. She loves the photo booth. She loves getting photos. And I was like, of course we're going to bring it.
Yeah.
A couple days before, maybe 2 days before, I don't know what happened, but SP was standing in the kitchen. And he went, Kellie, they move in the pictures. The people move in the picture. They move
in the movies and the books.
In the books, yeah. And if you know anything about my photo booth, which is okay if you don't, my business, I do have a specific offering that we call Photos in Motion, where it's literally a printed GIF that moves when you go back and forth with it. So I then spent the rest of that evening making a specialized activation for our daughter's 9th birthday party.
Yeah.
But it ended up being, if you know anything about the movie, they have the wanted posters for
usually Sirius Black, but
they have the
others.
undesirable number 1 for Harry Potter. But it's like wanted wizard. If you see this wizard, don't approach, don't use magic.
Yeah.
Report to the Ministry of Magic immediately. And so I made that overlay and then made it so when they took a picture, they could be the wizard inside and it'd print out and they'd move. And it was so cool. And everyone thought it was so cool. Brooklyn got in there a ton with her friends. They loved it. It was so great. So that was a really, really fun part of it. We also had flying keys hanging from the ceiling. And then when you went into the movie room, Whitney had, everyone's seen it. It's all over TikTok. But
basically, it looks like a storm on the ceiling.
Yeah, it looks like a storm on the ceiling when you do like the LED strip lights with like the floofy.
Like cotton
cloud stuff that you put up there. So she did that and we hung candles from there too. So it really felt like you were experiencing the movie in a fun way. And then of course, they happened to pick the room to watch the movie where the fireplace is right underneath the TV. And so we had to do all of the Hogwarts letters coming out of the fireplace. And so it was a very fun themed party.
The one thing that I regret now as I listen to all of what you're saying, and I'm like, we should put all of this in the video version. We were so down to the wire in terms of getting this ready and done that we didn't take a lot of photos and videos.
You see, but my girl Ashley May was there, and it's the one thing I asked her. I said, hey, I haven't been able to take any video, and she goes, girl, I got you. And she went around and took a bunch of video, and she already uploaded it to our shared Bumble folder.
She's a trooper. What a rock
She's
star.
the real MVP of all of this. But she did. She got video of that room.
Awesome.
And of the Honeydukes and of the photo booth.
So fun. We at some point lost our daughter in the sense that all of the kids looked exactly the same. It was pretty much all girls. There was one or two boys, and even that boy has long hair too. And they're all in the same robes, and there was Harry Potter glasses
because it was dress
and wands.
up as like your favorite. Yeah.
So it looked like a mini Hogwarts in the house, which was very fun. But also, like, I have no idea where anyone's kid is right now.
Yeah, I knew who she was for a while because she was the only one with a headband, and she's like the only Ravenclaw. Everyone else was wearing Gryffindor, so I could tell when I would see blue. I was like,
bandwagon Gryffindor people.
I know. I mean, I am one of those, but I also took the test, and I am one, the Pottermore test. Okay.
Yeah. That's true.
You did too. You are a Gryffindor as well. But I could tell because of the blue. But when she took that headband off, I was like, I don't know which one's mine.
Who freaking knows?
Yeah.
I think my favorite part, though, other than our kid just had a blast. And so it always feels good as a parent to have a party that they really, really enjoy. She was like, best day ever when we went home. But the activation was so cool, the wanted posters. And it's so fun. It's like, when I do a normal gig, let's say I'm DJing. If I know that everybody is having a great time who's attending on the dance floor, like that's fun. But if I see the client dancing, or if I see the people who work at the nightclub or whatever we're doing, like enjoying it or saying like, you're one of the best blah, blah, blahs we've ever had, that's what excites me. Yeah. And for this birthday, for the parents to be like, this is so cool. Is it okay if I like take a photo?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, totally.
Like, get in.
Like that's really what made me happy is not only were the kids, because the kids get really excited and then just like, being a kid, you're like, moving on.
Yeah.
But the parents were like, how does that even work? This is incredible.
Yeah, it was really, really fun.
Yeah. So I
really
hope you felt proud of yourself, not just for the activation, but for all the pieces that you provided.
I did. I really, really did. I told you this. My only regret was that I felt like I didn't see our daughter at all.
Yeah.
Because I was stuck over at the photo booth or was stuck trying to figure out different things. So it was just.
You think we'd be used to that predominantly working in the live event space? But yeah, Kelly was stuck at the booth for a long time, and I wasn't at the booth for a long time, but I was stuck making the other things happen. So neither of us really saw our kid on her birthday. I didn't even see her blow out candles. I wasn't even close enough for,
I recorded
that.
It's okay. I got you.
And here it is right now.
No.
But no, it was a great, great time.
Yeah.
The birthday party.
Yeah.
Which takes me into kind of the next thing worth mentioning. It's a little bit working through it, a little bit hardly working. But we grabbed dinner, the 5 of us, meaning us 2 parents, the other 2 parents in Brooklyn, for her birthday on Saturday.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty good.
Oddly enough, while we've done numerous things together, did thousands of soccer games together, we haven't gotten together for a meal probably since they first started dating or married or whatever it was, as a like, let's introduce ourselves to each other.
Yeah.
And then now it's been, we're coming up on 5 years.
They're coming up on 4.
Yeah, they'll be 4 in February and we'll be 5 in May. But it was the first time we got to do that. And we went all the way out to Century City, if you're familiar with Los Angeles. And we went to Din Tai Fung, which if you're familiar with the show, you already know that we love that.
Yeah.
And we had dinner there with them. And it was a really nice time. It was a really great time. We got to walk around the outdoor mall. And Brooklyn bought no less than $100 worth of stuffed animals.
Oh, yeah.
We gave her like a budget as part of her birthday. It was like, you can spend between $50 to $100 on what you want. It's tricky when you have a birthday so close to Christmas.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like, well, for her birthday, like we'll go to Disneyland instead of buying toys, or we'll do this, keep it fun and fresh. And she did. She brought a ton of stuffies. And she just, I think really the highlight for me was there was no weirdness. Like Brooklyn didn't feel weird having all of us together.
Yeah, she was like excited about it.
There may have been one moment, the oh my God moment, where Brooklyn was like, oh my God. And Whitney was like, we don't say that. And we're like, wait a minute, Brooklyn, you told me that.
You could say that.
You could say that. I think it was the only moment that we had, but where worlds collided. But other than that, it was so cool because there was a moment where like John, her stepdad, and I were talking. We're up in Italy getting some dessert stuff. And we looked over and Brooklyn was like, I want a group hug with both my moms, and he grabbed Kelly and Whitney and like brought them together. I have some recollection that something like that's happened with you before, with you and Whitney in Brooklyn. But
this was different. I don't know why. It's just a different feel. Brooklyn also asked if she could have mom date night with both her moms.
Yeah.
She was very particular with mom date, but with mama and mommy, both my moms.
Yeah.
I understand. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And that's such a cool thing that she would even ask for.
For sure.
And for the two of you guys, you and Whitney, to totally be on board with it and not be like, yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Like it was cool to be in this part of our life. And I posted that photo on Instagram as well. We took a photo of all of us. And there was, first of all, an insane amount of people engaging with it, which is cool, but not really the point. The point is there was a lot of people who are in similar situations to us. You know, they've divorced or they have kids or
in the midst of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, them just saying like, this is the dream to be able to like do stuff like this, or like, that's so cool that you guys, you know, make her a priority in this way, or can get together, whatever it is. And, for most of those people, the response that I just felt, I don't know, I felt it in my heart and I gave was like, it was a crappy journey to get here, but it's such a lovely destination.
Yeah.
And it seems like the people that I had sent that back to, it seemed to strike a chord with them. You know, maybe, and I'm reading into it, so take it for what it is, but maybe it's something that's, you know, aspirative or, you know, hopeful, you know, like this can be us one day too, with my ex or whatever.
I hope it can be for those people.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And side note, this is more of a working through it conversation, this part, but like the thing that gets in the way of that typically is hurt feelings and big egos. Yeah. Typically, if you can work through your feelings and if you can put your ego aside for the sake of your kid, then you can make it happen. I also heard something interesting about marriages later, but it's definitely for a working through it. So we'll save it.
Okay.
But it was good. Anything else from that dinner that was worth mentioning, or from that whole time?
No, I mean, I think it was just a great time. I love seeing Brooklyn just happy and feel comfortable and be herself. I was always curious how it would be if because like you said it, we hang out at soccer, but like Brooklyn's on the soccer field and the parents are with each other. Like Brooklyn's not necessarily hanging out with us in a part of the conversation because we're there watching her and we're talking to each other, but we're not like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I was curious how she would be as a part of the conversation, considering that we know that both households are different in their own ways. You know, we're very you and I are very creative and we work in the industry. And so we're very much that way. And she's a therapist and he's a doctor. And so it's more, how would you say, like more structured, I would say, than it is fluid and not in a bad way. It's just different. And I love that she gets both like different experiences, you know, they're more like go play outside and we're more like, we're going to play Mario Kart together. Like it's just different and that's okay. But I was curious how like the melding of the two worlds would be for her, if she would struggle, if like she would feel like she had to be different or feel like she had to be one, like I was curious, is she one way at one house, one at the other house? Right. But it was cool to watch her be like, no, this is just like everyone's here and like we're good.
I will say the wild and crazy kid factor was kind of amped up. She seemed to be a little more wow than she is when she's just with us, or I'm guessing just with them.
But it could have been because everyone's together.
Yeah,
and she was really adamant about piggyback rides. I was like, it is raining.
Yeah, I know.
Someone's going to slip. No one did.
To your point about different households, different families, that kind of stuff. It was cool when I was talking with John. It became more apparent to me that the two of them, like you said, they're more outdoorsy and that kind of stuff, and we're more like, let's hang and have fun. But it's cool because it seems like they're more, backing up again, we all agree, like, if Brooklyn makes a commitment, we're going to follow through on it, and pushing her to follow through on it, even if she's like, I don't want to do All Stars anymore. Well, it's like,
you gotta
tough.
keep going,
you did it. Yeah, you committed to it. But to see, like, they tend to push her more in value. I wouldn't say they value grit, but for lack of a better term, like there's a grit to it. Like, you want to learn piano? Like, well, this is what we're doing. This is how it works. Brooklyn likes to just be creative and figure it out on her own.
Which is good, but not, but there's a balance between like following the instructions and doing the things the way that you're supposed to. And then once you've learned that, then you can have the freedom to be creative and do all that stuff. But she tends to want to skip that part and just be like, I'm going to do it however I want to. And it sounds good to me. Yep. It's like, but that's not how life works. Like, you got to have the technique before you can.
Yeah. And she'll get there.
Yeah.
But what I like is that, they have more of a focus on that, while my focus is really that like kindness, compassion, all that kind of stuff. And the reason I say any of this is it is one of the, in my opinion, few benefits that we get because we are a blended family. She does have two different experiences, not one better and one worse,
no, just
different. And I think it actually is giving her an opportunity to become more well-rounded than maybe she would have if she didn't, have two houses.
I agree with that.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want to jump into the bulk of the show?
Sure.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening to our recap of our daughter's birthday.
Yeah. And there's one more thing I want to say, not about that, but before we get into the normal segments of the show, is that the one other thing that I started this week was my new commercial class at RD Studios. If you've listened to the podcast for a while, you've heard me talk about RD Studios. I had a great 6-week class there over the fall. That was incredible. I was so excited to jump back into this one. And I don't have much to report other than it's still great. And I just wanted to throw that out there to everyone, that if you're looking for a new hobby, if you want to try something new, if you hate your job and want to pivot, a great place to start is taking a class. It can be online too. It can be over Zoom. It can be on Teachable, or just download a course. But there's something about being in person and seeing other people who are striving to start doing what you're doing or to get better at what we're already doing. And there's something really cool and motivating about that. I'm sure that's not a hot take because most people have hobbies. I'm probably the weird one who has no real hobbies. But if you're, looking for something to jump into, you don't have to jump into what I'm doing, but find a class around you, go do something. How's the eye treating you?
There's something in there. We're just going to keep going.
Do you want to see if you can get it out?
No, it's okay.
Okay. You just keep winging it. While I talk, you keep sticking your finger in your eye.
I'm so sorry. It's like, I can feel, it's like an eyelash. Okay.
So I want to change things up today, not in terms of segments, but in terms of order. Because I have quite a few unpopular opinions, but depending on time, it's easier to cut those out. So I want to actually start with stories today, if you're okay with that.
All right.
If we can wing it.
Let's make the change.
Swing it and wing it, baby. Not sure what that means, but I like it. Put it on my tombstone. Okay, so jumping into stories. It feels weird to jump into stories. I'm not going to lie.
He swung it until he won it.
He swinged it until he winged it. We'll find out the right way to say that. Okay, first story. Kansas couple charged with collecting man's retirement while keeping his body in their home for 6 years. So this seems like something you'd see on a Netflix documentary. You know what I mean? Like, not an Unsolved Mysteries, but
yeah. But a what?
Oh, do you want some context?
Yeah, I was like, well, because I'll share. I'll hold on to it.
Okay. So you want to hear the details?
Yeah.
All right, it's pretty quick on this one. A Kansas couple has been charged with fraudulently collecting more than $215,000
Dang.
of retirement benefits on behalf of a dead relative while they concealed his body inside their home for 6 years.
What do they do? Like keep him in a room?
Okay, so this couple, it is the deceased is the father of the wife that is married to the husband.
And
that's the couple.
Okay.
And they are fraudulently taking money. They will not respond to inquiries for interviews and stuff. So we don't have the details of where the body is or what's been happening.
Yeah.
But I have to, let's continue because there is one word in this article that gives a little bit of an idea here. Okay. Authorities say that Mike Carroll's pacemaker showed that it stopped in 2016, which is hilarious. It's kind of like the new Teslas and stuff.
Yeah.
They're like, we have the data. We know how fast you were going or if someone was in there. I guess pacemakers are like that. Pacemakers are the Teslas of organs, of the heart. Yeah, of course. We all know that old cliche. So apparently, according to his pacemaker, he died in 2016 at the age of 81. But the police didn't discover his body until 2022 after his son-in-law, Kirk, called the police to report his death, which is odd. It says prosecutors say that Lynn Ritter, who is Kirk's wife and daughter of the deceased.
Yes.
Both of these people, by the way, 61 years old.
Dang.
Doesn't this seem like a 30 to 40-year-old crime?
Yeah, it does.
Not a 61.
Yeah.
It says they continue depositing and spending from Carroll's bank account even while his body became, quote, mummified on a bed in the home he owned.
So they just left it on the bed.
I guess.
And they didn't worry about the smell?
For 6 years?
Because there is a smell that comes with decomposing bodies.
Tell me how you know that.
I mean, I watch Bones.
Yeah. And Criminal Minds.
Yeah, I've been watching it a long time. But yeah, there's a specific smell.
So
not a good one.
I thought this was going to be like he's been in the freezer in the basement.
That would have been smarter.
Do you remember that one episode of a show like this? This isn't a show we're talking about. But remember some dude killed somebody and then put it under the deck? I think they were in Paris or something. It may have been his wife and family.
No idea.
Yeah, stop killing people. That's not what these people are doing.
No.
But insurance fraud or retirement fraud is not great either.
Pretty bad, yeah.
So mummified on the bed. I don't understand. I don't know how you could do that.
You have to wrap him in some way.
Probably. I'm going to guess blankets. Yeah. I mean, if they're just leaving him on the bed.
And he would have had to dry out is what would have had to happen.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Anyway.
Ugh. Anyway, this is my favorite part. Family members told the Kansas City Star, so this is not the couple, but their family, that the Ritters, the husband and wife, would repeatedly give them excuses about why Carroll could never take a phone call or visit while leading them to believe that Carroll was still alive. Carroll being the last name, Mike Carroll.
Oh, got it.
Anyway, so that's basically all of it. But over 6 years, they took out $216,067, and they will not respond for interviews.
Well, on the heels of that, did you hear about the guy that was found in his RV recently? He died.
No.
He died recently, but what they also found is that he had been taking care of his wife who had died 6 years prior to him dying in the RV. He was living with his wife and taking care of the dead body until he was dead. She died 6 years ago.
And he was still taking care of her?
And he was taking care of her, and then he just died. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? In an RV of all places. I was like, he wasn't doing insurance fraud as far as I know. I think he just,
I wish he was for his sake.
He just loved his wife and wanted to have her near. I have no idea.
I need you to know.
I'm not going to do that.
I love you so much.
And I don't want you to do that.
Too bad, because I'm gonna prop you up in the living room.
Taxidermy.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that.
Does that exist for humans?
Stuff, yeah. It's got it. Yeah. Probably not. There is a story that I didn't do this morning. That was about the Harvard morgue, and people were stealing limbs, selling organs, and making leather goods out of cadaver skins.
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't leave that article in here, but
no. No, it's a lot of death this morning. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Hope you're listening to this in a happy place.
Moral of the story is don't try to take care of your dead relatives. Just let them go to the morgue to be buried or cremated.
Or sold on the black market.
Or burn them. Doesn't matter.
Well, I don't know if you're allowed to do that on your own.
I mean, if they get taken to the morgue, they get cremated, they technically get burned.
That's true. They do technically get burned.
Yeah.
This next story has to do with death, but in a much different way.
Okay.
The title of this next story is, Was the World's Oldest Dog a Fraud? Guinness World Records pauses the title as it conducts investigation.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
When Bobby, the world's oldest dog, celebrated his, any guesses on how old? Okay, so the average dog life,
15,
I'm going to
16.
say, yeah, I was going to say like between 10, I don't know if.
And 15. Like,
Yeah.
really. So I'm going to say 25.
31.
No.
I
no
know.
way.
Seems a little sketchy. That dog was about your age.
I know.
That's a long
No dog lives that
life. Well,
My mocha.
on his 31st birthday, the whole world celebrated with him, and they all cried as he passed away in October. But now his record-breaking title is in question. After vets and other experts, this is the internet so wild that someone could be like, this dog's 31. And like a community of vets are like,
I doubt it. What type of dog was it?
Okay, so the answer to that is, you know what? The answer is you should read it. The type of dog is highlighted on this page.
Goodness. Rafiero do Alentejo.
Sure. It's a Portuguese breed of dog.
Okay.
I guess. And when I read the article earlier, I was like, I'm not going to be able to say that word. But it says that it usually lives between 12 to 14 years.
Liars.
As long as they're not carrying extra weight, like Bobby often was. The plot thickens. Anyway, it goes on to talk more and more about that.
I want a picture of Bobby when Bobby was 8 and then when Bobby was 25. I want to know if they would look like the same dog.
Well, there's a picture of Bobby.
At 31? Right before he died?
I don't know at 31. I also took out a story that was about a 7-legged dog.
Oh, my God.
That is now only 4 legs, I think.
That's good.
Yeah. The problem with that story was it wasn't really a story. It was just like, they did it. Yeah. Spider dog.
Spider dog.
Anyway, so right now, the owners say that the accusations are false. We really did keep this dog for 62 years or whatever. Yeah, show me.
We've had cell phones for most of those 31 years.
You know what I think these
We've
owners
had cameras for all of it. Sorry.
I think these owners are keeping this dog on a bed and collecting its retirement pension.
No.
It's in the article. It says they've accumulated over $250,000 worth of dog retirement benefits.
Didn't.
Oh yeah.
Liar.
Anyway, so I figured I would throw that out there, but that also led me into another thing.
Oh goodness.
I started wondering. I used to love I wouldn't say year, but growing up, every couple years, a new hardcover Guinness Book of World Records would show up in my life. A cousin might have it. I might get it for Christmas. But did you ever have one of those Guinness Book of World Records in your house?
My brothers may have, or my grandparents may have. I remember looking through one at some point in time.
Yeah.
But I don't remember where we were. I just know that we did.
Well, honestly, for me, I was always excited. This was life before the internet, children. So you can't, the internet, comma, children, and also before the internet children, the children that are on the internet, run the internet. Yeah. But this was before all that. So you used to have coffee table books or Snapple facts.
Something that people could like read.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was always excited. You'd see like creepy pictures of the person with the world's longest nails. And they were all like spiraled and gross.
I remember that.
And then you'd have a photo of the world's tallest person next to the world's shortest person. It was kind of like what the circus was, I guess.
Kind of, yeah.
Like, see the natural oddities.
Yep.
Which felt bad when I said it out loud. I'm sure all of these people are wonderful. But anyway.
Hopefully they got some money for being in the Guinness World Records.
You know what? I doubt it. They just get the clout, I suppose. Maybe a trophy or a plaque.
Yeah.
But I was like, I wonder what other weird records there are that we didn't know about.
Okay.
So I pulled up 10 weird Guinness records. The first one. Most tricks performed by a pig. As weird as it reads, it's true. The world of Guinness Book of World Records, the most number of tricks performed by a pig is 13 tricks in total in 2008.
That's not a lot.
How many tricks do you think you could teach a cat?
A lot.
How many? Name them. Name 5 tricks you think you could teach one of your cats.
Is it different tricks or is it just tricks in a row?
I'm sure it's different tricks.
Sit. Lay down.
You cannot teach a cat to fetch, sit, or lay down.
Beg.
You don't have to teach that.
Shake. Jump.
I'm sorry.
Down.
You're naming dog tricks.
Yeah.
My point is, if you couldn't teach a cat that,
I could teach a cat that.
you could not teach a cat that.
Mocha knew.
I would like you to teach Gracie.
No, she won't learn.
I'd like you to teach Lucky.
He wouldn't learn that. Well, he
I'm
might.
sorry. So no cat in your life would learn?
That's not how.
How odd.
That's not how it works. If I could have a cat in the house that trusted me and loved me, and
Yes.
I was the one who was training it, then yes, I think I could
So,
train a cat that way.
Tell me all the tricks you train Mocha to do.
Up. Like, come up here.
Starts with up.
Lay down. Sit.
Next one's
wait.
purr. I taught it cat to be cat.
No, like up onto my bed.
Okay.
Like, come up. And she would. I taught her how to come meet me at the door when she heard my car pulling up into the driveway.
No, you didn't. That just happened.
She did it all the time.
What did you do? Have someone drive your car and you're like, Mocha, that's going to be me. This is
knew.
when you come to the door.
She knew.
Look,
She would
13
come.
is impressive. That's all I'm saying. 13 is impressive.
All right.
Do you want to know what the largest hula hoop spun ever is?
You sure?
By a female, apparently, because I guess that's relevant.
Yeah. I don't know. Hips don't lie. Am I right?
So, no, they don't. This is the largest circumference hula hoop.
Okay.
This isn't like how many minutes or how
Okay.
many times. It was a certain amount of feet long. Any guesses on how many feet the world's largest
Feet
hula hoop
long.
ever spun?
20.
So keep in mind, like, this wall by you is probably 8
Okay.
feet.
8.
Okay, what is it going to be? 8, 20? I was trying to give you
I
perspective.
felt like you were trying to talk me out of my 20.
No, not at all. I was
So
trying to
20.
give you a frame of reference. Not too bad. It was 17 feet and a quarter inches.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
That's preposterous, though.
It's
That is
insane.
huge.
Liar. Just kidding.
We've also got the largest guitar amplifier, which was 10 feet, 40.47 inches long by 8 feet and another inch.
Weird.
Very large. How about stretchiest skin?
Oh, no.
Yeah, look at that. That is just
Ner.
skin, baby. I have pretty
Ner.
stretchy skin. Not as stretchy as Gary Turner, who, due to a rare medical
It's like
condition,
there's something wrong with you. And I was right.
can stretch the skin of his stomach up to 6.2
no.
inches.
No.
He's held the record since 1999.
No.
Here's a random one. I never know like what
Grosses me out.
can be a record.
Okay.
You know, you're like, can you do longest podcast hosted by 2 people in
Probably.
Los Angeles? Like, how specific does it have to be? But these are weird ones. This is spinning a basketball on a toothbrush for the longest.
That's a toothbrush?
I guess so. And it says that he did it for, any guesses?
3 minutes.
1 minute and 8 seconds. That doesn't seem that long.
I know. I was going to say it doesn't seem like a long time.
Doesn't seem that long. We also have the largest gathering of people dressed as words are hard, as Albert Einstein.
It was like an Albert Einstein convention.
I guess so. But you know what? I remember this because a year or two ago, director Kevin Smith was doing a world record for the most Jay and Silent Bob cosplay at one time, and they did it. So I know that stuff like this exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 541 kids from 5 different schools in Australia set that record.
Dang.
Couple more left.
Weirdos.
Largest collection of rubber ducks.
Weird.
Any guesses on the number?
1,020.
Good guess. 5,600. That's a lot. And then maybe
What do you
we'll
do with
end.
all of them?
I don't know.
It's not going to fit in your bathtub.
It's got to be a collection, right?
Yeah,
well, I mean,
where-
it fits in
but
her
where do you-
bathtub.
that's not all of that. Cannot be all of
You
them.
don't think that's 5,600 ducks?
No, I don't.
No, you're right. It's not. Biggest pillow fight ever? 7,600 people in a pillow fight?
I'm sure they all didn't hit each other.
That sounds like a nightmare.
It does.
Farthest
Worst
distance.
sleepover ever.
Farthest distance to blow a pea?
A foot?
24 feet. Try that. I feel like if I was on a flat surface, I could do that forever.
Yeah, you want to know what I'm realizing as you're going through this?
Yeah.
I don't care about Guinness World Records stuff. Guys, we
So-
have the internet. It's called TikTok. I can watch somebody roll stuff down stairs and guess how many
But
times people or how many stairs that glass bottle will go before it breaks into a million pieces and lets all the little whatever's inside out. Rice, beans, water.
do you know the fastest typing with a nose record?
I just don't care.
103 characters in 46 seconds.
I do appreciate you looking all this stuff up. It's nothing to do with you. It's everything to do with as you're reading it. I'm like, yeah, that's probably why I don't remember Guinness World Record books, because I just don't. I'm like, cool, dude.
I just need everyone listening and watching at home to know that every time we end the podcast, that's what Kelly says. She goes, all that stuff you brought up, I just don't care about it. I just don't care.
That's not what I say.
Well, either way, there's some weird facts. And
Weird.
who knows about Bobby the doggy?
Bobby the doggy, 31 years old. Young. Liars. Just kidding. I have no idea.
All right, you ready to get into some unpopular opinions?
Yes.
Cool. So I've got more than we need, and we'll see what we get through. The first one is this. Being chronically late all the time is 100% a choice.
It is.
I agree.
100% a choice.
I agree. But you and I are not late people.
Guys, if it... Is there a percentage that you're about to give me?
No.
No, yeah. I don't know who would say, yeah, it's not a choice. Like it just is something that happens. It's not true. You have a choice to look ahead with all the technology we have now. Like you can look.
That's true.
Yesterday I was able to look up, I have a walkthrough today for an event I'm doing in a couple weeks in Pasadena. And I was like, okay, like I looked up yesterday, how long would it take me to drive to this place at this time to arrive by this time? What time do I have to leave? Like, it's not like it doesn't tell you. And then I go, it's raining. So guess what? I'm going to add on some time because I'm not going to be late. And I was already going to add on time anyway, because you got to park and you got to do stuff. It's the people that are non-planners that I think are late, that are like, oh, I'm meeting somebody. Goodness. I'm meeting.
Don't get too specific.
But let's say you have a meeting at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
You can't just plan to be there at 2 p.m.
No, that's when the meeting starts. Because you still have to park and you have to get into the place and you have to do all that stuff. And especially if you're meeting at a place like a hotel or... Motel or Holiday Inn.
Okay. But a hotel or a place that you've never been before that you don't know. Do they valet? Is there a parking structure? Is there street parking? Like, how do you park? You got to build in that extra time. Or if you're going to the mall, like you have to know that you're not going to be able to find a spot right when you get there. Like you're going to have to take some time to find a spot and then walk to wherever you're going. like if your meeting's at 2, you can't plan to arrive at 2. You got to plan to arrive at like 1:45.
Yeah, girl, that's why we freaking work, dog.
If you can't do that, then that's why you're chronically late. It's because you assume that whenever someone tells you what time, that time you have to be there. And you know what? I know about those friends in my life. And this is something, sorry to all of you guys that know this. If I know that you are a late person, I will normally tell you that if our meeting's at 2 p.m., I will tell you, yeah, let's meet at 1:45. Because then I know you're probably still going to be late, but you'll be there at 2:05 and not 2:30.
Smarty,
or 2:25, you know, or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more.
And if you're going to be late, text or call. Oh my goodness, I'm running a few minutes behind. I'm so sorry. Because like to be like, as someone who likes to be on time and likes to be places where when I'm supposed to be there, there's nothing worse than like rushing or making sure you're there and making sure everything's good. And then you're like, oh, I still have 20 minutes to spare. It's like, I could have spent 20 minutes at home, or I could have sat in my car for a little bit longer, or I could go do something before I come over here. Who knows?
Who knows?
It is a choice.
Yeah, I agree.
Proper planning prevents poor performance.
I will say this. The older I get, the more I understand that everyone's brain is different.
Yes.
And maybe there's only 9 or 10 different styles of brain, but I think especially growing up in church, none of this stuff was talked about, like personality types and that kind of stuff, or the way people are wired. But there was this understanding that there's right and wrong, there's black and white, there's you do this, you don't do this. And it at least gives the impression that like, you know, like this is such a guys thing. We're doing a guys night and the girls are over there. We're talking about things that guys are talking about. You talking about girls. Like there was such definitive lines on things that it was almost as if like, if someone's going to be late, it's because it's their choice. I understand that some people's brains just can't go. If I have to be there at 2 and it's going to take me a half hour, that's 1:30. But I also need some time for parking, maybe 10 minutes, that's 1:20. Not everybody's brain works that way.
Yes.
For sure.
So you got to do the work for them.
For sure. And at the same time, to your point, the amount of technology you have now, your example was great. You can look up days in advance
Oh,
how
yeah.
long it'll take you to get somewhere.
And it's not 100% accurate depending on the day. There could be an accident, could be rain, could be who knows what. But at least it gives you, at least you have an understanding that like it's going to take me about 40 minutes to get down there.
Yeah.
Or wherever I'm going.
Yep. Let me give you the context of this one too as we put a bow on it. This person said, I know tons of people who are always late and saying they have a condition or it just slips their mind. And I get it. Things happen. But always being late is a choice. It's not hard to do things in life on time. No. It's not hard if you have plans and agree to be on time. It's not a condition. It's poor planning.
Yeah, well, and I would say this too. I bet you those people are never late to work. And if they are, I bet you they've been fired from a few jobs for being late.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like I've never
if
had
it's important enough, you'll make the effort, make the time.
Yeah, and I remember when you used to work at the restaurant, there was only a certain amount of times you could 3 times. But if you no call, no showed, that's it. Like you're done now.
Yeah, but you could be late. I think it was 3 times every quarter. And like that didn't account for extenuating circumstances. Like
right.
If your car broke down on the freeway, that wasn't like, oh, you're late. Sorry. That was like oh, okay. Like you called, okay, cool. Yeah, we can cover you until you get there. Right.
Yeah.
But like, bar that happening or bar like an accident, like things happen, accidents that we've been there where like we're on our way and we're meant to be there at a certain time and then there's an accident and the whole freeway stops. Like there's nothing you can do about things like that.
Absolutely.
Right.
Sure.
Except for reach out and communicate with whatever party you're meeting with, whoever it is. But I do not think that it's like I don't think it's something you're born with. I think it's a decision that you make to be late or to not prepare or plan.
I truly think it's both. I do think some people are wired that way.
Yeah, but if you are wired that way, you cannot tell me that you don't know you're wired that way. Like if you're late all the time, that's when it
becomes an excuse, right?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, if you're late all the time, you know that you are.
Yeah.
And so you build that in.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of an example to compare it to, but I'm sure everyone listening is like,
yeah,
we get it.
They have their one friend that they know. Yeah.
We get it. Okay. So we have time for one more, but I have 3 prepared. So I'm going to give you all 3 and you choose what you want to do.
Okay.
Just to show everyone just the amount of work that goes into putting this together. So here's your options. First, I think people should be discouraged from getting married before age 25. Number 2. Number 2, telling someone to just Google it is passive aggressive and causes people to be antisocial.
No.
Number 3, saying you're a, quote, bad texter is a load of garbage. All of these come with context and some breakdown here. So what would you like to discuss? I know it's not going to be the just Google it one. You didn't seem to care.
No, the other 2 were good though.
So discouraged about being married before 25 or saying I'm a bad texter is a load of garbage. Well, the bad texter is a little bit like the chronically late.
Yeah. Can I just say quick things about that? Here's the deal. I do think that some people are bad texters. And I think those are people that live in the moment and choose to not always be living on their phone. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's also something to say of like knowing your friends and knowing how they are. Like I said, I know my friends that are late and I tell them, I give a 15-minute build in because I'm just aware of that. And if they want to get mad at me for that, they can, but they're always late. So like it helps us all stay on time. But I have a couple of friends who aren't great texters, but I've known them forever. And I know they're not great texters. I don't hold it against them.
I do.
I know you do, but I'm just aware, and I understand that people can get overwhelmed by technology. People can get overwhelmed by texting, and it can be a lot. And I understand that. You just got to love people where they're at and meet them where they're at. However, what does baffle me and get on my nerves is when you text something, that person doesn't respond, but then they text asking you a question without responding to the thing that you've asked. There's nothing that bugs me more than that. I'm like, I don't care if you don't text me right away. Like I get it. We're all busy. We all got lives, and if you're in the moment, how amazing for you. I think that's freaking cool. And there are times when I can't text because I'm working or we're playing Mario Kart with Brookie or something, But to not even address the thing I sent you as you respond to me,
right? I
have an issue with that because then I look like the a-hole who's like, great. Also, like, did you see this? Like, and then they normally don't respond. I just can't. Yeah. So that's what I would say about that.
I'll read this real fast, the context for that one. And then if you want to talk about the other one, we can. It says this: by bad texter, I mean people who consistently wait for atrociously long periods of time to respond to text messages, 12 plus hours. I don't know if I agree that that's atrociously long.
Atrocious.
And then apologize for it by saying, oh, sorry, I'm a bad texter. We all know everybody checks their phones all the time.
That's true.
This I agree with. Like, it's not that you didn't see my text.
That's true.
But I think there's certain text etiquette that is changing.
Yeah.
I don't, you know better than anybody. I'll respond to you and I'll respond to Brooklyn immediately, but I do not like being immediately accessible to people.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say this too. Like this person's saying 12 plus hours. Like if I'm working an event from 7 to 10 p.m., if your text message comes through while I'm setting up or while I'm in the middle of a gig, I'm probably not going to text you back. And then by the time I get off, by the time I'm done working and torn down and in the car, I'm probably not going to text you at 11 o'clock at night because that doesn't seem appropriate. And so guess what? You're not going to get a text message from me until the next day after I've woken up, had my coffee, been awake long enough and can
But that's because you were working.
Yeah.
This seems to be more about like working or day off. This person just doesn't text. Let me read this last thing because I think it sums it up well. It says, no need to pretend or play the victim, buddy. If you're consistently taking more than pretty much an entire day to respond to a text message, you're not a bad texter. You're just deliberately decide to not make responding a priority and want to deflect the blame onto a fake condition you've made up for yourself.
This person seems to have an issue with one specific person in general. Who's like,
then it says Jessica at the end.
Because the other thing I was thinking of and going to say is like, there are times where someone may text me in the middle of the day and I'm totally available and like can text back, but I won't because the thought of jumping into that conversation, whatever that is more overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because there are people that you understand when you text them back, it's not like a one and done text. It's like, oh, we're jumping into something and I have to be available for who knows how long.
Right.
And I'm just not ready.
Yeah.
I'm just not ready. But I don't know. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I think I've just come to terms with like, not everybody wants to be on their phone.
Yeah.
Like that. And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
Like I'm pushing back a little more than I normally would because I understand it. I don't think anybody should have to be immediately accessible to anybody in general, you know, aside from maybe your kid or whatever. Yeah. But yeah. I understand that having your own boundaries in relationships to technology is healthy and it's appropriate.
Yeah.
But also text me back.
Yeah. And then just to hit on the other one really quickly, because I did like that one.
Unless you want to save it for next week.
No, I'm already in it.
She's already in it, y'all. We're going there.
I think that we should stop pressuring young people to get married so quickly. And I think that the church, and I will say it, I think the church has done a disservice to young people. I think schooling has done a disservice to young people as well, forcing them to make a decision at 18 years old of what they want to do for the rest of their life as they go into college. I think that that's insane. And if any adult, I'm 32 years old. If I look back at 18-year-old Kellie, what I wanted to do at 18 years old is not the same of what I want to do now.
You shouldn't trust your 18-year-old self now. Yeah.
And when I look back, I truly don't even, I remember being in a season where I was like, I don't even know what I want to do. Yeah. But there was so much pressure to be married, to start a family, and to like have a great career. But for me, I go like college, well, I know it's kind of mixing the two, but college should be a season for people to learn what they want. And I think that we should change around the way we do that to make the first 2 years an exploratory years where they can like take classes and figure out what they're interested in and what they're good at versus have a trajectory of like, they have to do this thing. Cause most of the time people get like halfway through and they hate it. And I also think we should stop putting such a high value on marriage. Yeah. Cause I think it's important, right? I think it is for some people and for other people, it's not. Yeah. But at the same time, like if you get the person that you love at 20 is not necessarily the person that you'll love at 30.
100%.
Because I think you do the most growing in your 20s.
Probably.
I think you really find out who you are. It's the first time you're out on your own and you don't necessarily have the full support of your family because that kind of quote unquote ends when you get out of high school. Not for everybody, but it's just different. You're an adult, right? And I think you grow the most. You find out who you are. You lose friends. You make friends. And I don't think I think I got married at 27.
Something like that. 27, 28. I don't know.
I thought it was 26 or 27, but like at 27, 28, yeah, you're right. But I broke down on my 25th birthday.
Right.
Because I didn't have anybody in my life that I was dating or was interested in me. And I thought my life was over. Not really, but like it was like a big deal for me because the church put such a high regard on being married and being married young. And most of my friends were married between 20 and 23.
Yeah. I was.
Yeah, I know.
I was probably 22 or something. I don't know.
And I think it's insane and crazy.
Yeah.
Like why? You're still figuring out who you are.
We're all kids. Yeah, you know what was interesting? So I used to, for those who don't know, I worked with middle schoolers for a long time, and then I also worked with elementary and preschoolers.
Yeah.
But to see some of the middle school students that I was working with grow up and get married, that's what shined the light on it for me, where I was like, whoa, that person's getting married really young.
Yeah.
But they were getting married about the same age I was probably getting married.
Yeah.
But you're always the oldest you've ever been.
Yeah.
And so you only have the knowledge that you have.
Of course.
I will say this. I'm totally on the same page with you. I saw this video. Per usual. I saw this video yesterday from a divorce lawyer because I was, doing some research just in case. But he goes, 56% of marriages end in divorce. 56%. So he goes, that's a lot. And I mean, we've heard half for a while, but he said 56% end in divorce. And then he goes, how many of the remaining percent do you think stay together for the kids? Let's go conservative. If we went super conservative, 10% of the people who stay together.
There's more than that has to be.
Let's call it 20%. This is literally what he did in the video.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, so 20%, which now means 76% of marriages either fail or you stay in the relationship for the kid, and that's not thriving, that's surviving.
Yeah.
You might as well be divorced if that's the life that you're choosing. So if you are about to go into a literal government contract, that you have a 76%, we'll call it 75% chance of failing at. He says this, if I told you that when you walk outside today, there's a 75% chance you're going to get hit in the head with a bowling ball, would you go outside?
Nope.
No, you'd stay inside. If I told you there was a 75% chance that the roller coaster ride you were going on was going to break, would you? Of course not. Yet, we still all get married or think we need to get married or want to get married or whatever it is. And I'm glad we're married.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with getting married.
Right.
That's not what we're saying.
But look, if 3/4 of marriages end or are genuinely unhappy, it is probably worth assessing the system, at least for yourself personally. Yeah. And here's what I would say. I think we've probably talked about this offline, you and I. I think that since this is a literal contract between two people, it should, obviously you can get prenups and all that kind of stuff, but like it should let it be for 5 years and then reassess or whatever.
Are you going to reassess this year?
In May, we're probably going for a tune-up. No, we're good. But why not have an off-ramp if you need it?
Yeah.
The only off-ramp if you don't have a prenup is explosion and doom. There's nothing. And guess what? Half of your assets are going to be split up and half of your time with your kid because you had no planning. But if we know that only 25% of people will stay together, we should have better safeguards in terms of what we're doing to our families and our kids and our own personal lives.
And who you choose.
Well, and this is what I think is really tricky is like, what's the point of being married? Some people see it as a spiritual thing. It's an agreement between you and your partner and God, and this is your one person and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Other people see it as like, well, if I get hit by a bus and die, I want to make sure my property and money doesn't go to the government. I'd rather it go to Kelly or, whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
But there's obviously so much emotion involved because you're supposed to be in love and all of this stuff and it's your perfect person and it's forever. But if you can say 75% chance it's not going to be forever, you might rethink, the things you put in place.
Yeah.
And here's what's weird is that I understand why most people don't want prenups because it feels like you're admitting to the possibility of failure. If you're like, we should get a prenup before we get married, just in case this doesn't work out. And it feels impossible to say that to the person that you're like, and I'm going to stand up there on Friday and tell the world that this is forever.
Yeah, but
just in case. So anyway, all that to say, to answer the question at hand or the statement at hand, I don't think most of us know who we are, what we want by before 25, certainly not even at 25.
No.
But I do think that, and we've talked about this before, the key to, I think, happy relationships is remembering that everybody is an individual person that can't and shouldn't be expected to bend to your every whim, will, belief, and preference.
Yeah.
Everyone's the main character of their own story, just like we always say.
Yep.
And you should have a lot of like love and leniency for the other person if you want to be able to have two people who are living solo lives also live a combined life together for 30, 40, 50, 70 years, whatever it is. So I agree. Well, I don't agree that you shouldn't ever get married before 25, but I think it's not wise.
Yeah, and I think you should ask the people in your life around you seriously with like no judgment towards them. Like, what do you think of the person? What do you think of this person that I want to marry? Because the people around you know you better. Like the people that you've entrusted to give you advice and that are your friends and that know you well enough, like will be honest if you allow that open space for them to be honest with no like repercussions on that part, you know? Because I think if we listen to the people around us more about the people that we're potentially going to marry, it might save from some of those divorces, truly. Because I think people get so scared to tell people like, hey, I don't know this person's a good fit for you because
I've been
it's
there
blown
so many
up.
times in my life. Yeah. And if you're in love and you're engaged or about to get married or whatever, the ship's kind of already sailed.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do? Be like, so-and-so's not a good fit for you?
And then what? You're out of their life forever?
Yeah. Or you're like, but I'm still going to stand next to you at the wedding.
Yep.
Sometimes like it's gone too far. And I think my sister would be okay with me saying this. My sister's had some quirky boyfriends, and I've told her as certain relationships have ended, like, hey, do you remember that I told you this about this person and you said it wasn't true, but now you can see it from this vantage point?
Truth finds
like,
you when you're ready, huh?
Exactly. But like for me and my sister, who we have a great relationship, I at least have the opportunity to be like, I just want you to be able to see that now. Like, I saw this thing that you couldn't see, but you see clearly now.
Yeah.
I need you to know that if I see that in a future relationship, I'm going to tell you that even if you don't see it. And I want you to be able to trust me as much as you can that I'm seeing something that you just can't see yet.
Yeah.
But my relationship with my sister Megan is so different than any friend I have. Like, and that's the tricky thing too, is in the same way that you can't tell people how they should mourn when they've lost something or someone. Like, everyone's going to make their own decisions for their life. And if they want to ask, people's thoughts, even that's hard to give it when it's so heavy. But anyway, I hope that we can, I hope we don't find ourselves in that situation with many more of our friends or acquaintances and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And most of our friends are married anyway, so
it
doesn't matter. Anyway, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
So in a few days, we're going to be dropping a Hardly Working Through It, where we're answering the question, how have you grown and learned from the endings of past relationships? Not just romantic ones, but also
friendships.
At least for me, I'm going to kind of dig into some of the friendship pieces and what that's like. So if you're interested in joining us there, you'll see that in a few days. But until then, what are you looking forward to this week, Kel?
Well, I have my walkthrough today. I get to see Troy, my faves.
Yeah, I'm not sure that you can talk about the channel or company you're working with yet, but it's a very cool gig.
Going down for a walkthrough today to do that. And then we have dinner with Simone and Nick later this week, which is going to be exciting, and Oliver's birthday this weekend.
I know he's going to be 1 year old. 1 year old. I guess 1 year old.
He's a 1 year old. Well, he will be a 1 year old.
Yeah, he will. It's going to be good times. We got a good week. I've got class tomorrow, which I'm very much looking forward to. I've got a virtual gig that I'm hosting from the studio right here. It's a bit complicated. Got to go check that out soon. But that'll be fun. It's all going to be good times, and I hope you can join us again in a few days on Hardly Working Through It. But until then, I hope you have a wonderful week and you spend most of your time hardly working. I love you.
Love you too.
We love you guys. Bye.